Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP, and I'm cozying up after a shower, so that's why I have my cozy headband. It's a little bit silly, but I like it. Yeah, so I haven't had a great time lately um, with everything going on. I increased my medication dosage. Um, And then instead, I ended up having trouble sleeping, so I slept like 4 hours maybe last night, which wasn't enough. I mean, I'm really tired now. Um, I met up with my ESFJ coworker's son and my coworker. So they were my patients, which was really weird because, yeah, it's my coworker. And my coworker telling childhood stories of her son, because that's what you have to do when you do a ADHD assessment. They ask you like, how were you as a child, and that's why the parent is there to say how he was as a child, and that was very embarrassing for um, for my patient, obviously. Um, I ended up recognizing myself in quite a few things, but quite a few things are completely different from me. But that's how it is with everybody with ADHD. It can look so different in different people. But it's just funny because all three of us in that room think that we have ADHD. So it was quite an interesting experience because we ended up talking for a full hour and we couldn't get on track on anything. It was chaos. But I ended up I think I did a good job. Um, I also met another patient, and a third patient did not come, and then I had to deal with all of my patients from my clinic, so that was quite a lot. But I do feel like I have more energy with the medication dosage change, even though I'm sleeping less. It's kind of like I'm running on artificial energy, but it's kind of like I need that energy to actually just go to work, basically. So that's what I'll be doing. Tomorrow I'm seeing the psychologist, so we'll see how that goes. Um, I I need to decide over my summer, my holidays, and um, that was quite a lot for me. Um, because I don't know if I'm going to take an intensive course in driving, which I really don't want to do, but that's kind of what I'll have to do. And I mean, an intensive course in driving, that takes up 3 weeks of holidays. It really does. And I don't know how I'll be able to manage to do that and to have a vacation. And I have to choose between it before the end of the month, which is soon. So yeah, that's what's been going on. And so, interestingly enough, my ESFP coworker has decided to stay as a resident at my GP clinic. And she's pretty dramatic, but I'm happy that she decided to stay with us. She wanted to become an orthopedic doctor, but unfortunately there were no spots for her for a residency there. I hope that she ends up going there in the end. But in the meantime, she's with us. And I think that in a way, I think that she appreciates me because she can't really talk to anybody else at this health center that is as open-minded about things as I am. Not to brag, but you know, like I'm a young person and there aren't that many young people at my workplace, and she's also part French, part German. Like her parents are French, but she grew up in Germany, and then she studied in Riga, and then she went to Sweden for love, because she found a Swedish person in Riga who was also a doctor, and he's also becoming a GP. He's a GP resident, but at another healthcare center in town. So it's nice that that she's there. We can kind of like, you know, we can talk gossip in French and nobody gets it, and she's very very dramatic, and it gives life a little bit of a spice, you know. But it's interesting because she, like, I think that with me she realizes that, okay, she needs to talk about a little bit deeper things, but she's not really that great at the deeper things. But like she'll tell me about feelings and stuff, and then she'll make jokes. Anyway, she just got engaged, and she's planning her wedding dress, and of course her wedding dress is going to have a lot of sparkles and strass and stuff, which it goes against the Swedish style of doing things, which is very minimalism, right? And she was talking about how, like, Swedish schools don't have discipline, and how German schools and French schools are very much about discipline, and that is what she was like, this is what leads to all of these people having ADHD, because they can't, well, basically Generation Alpha or Gen Z, I guess, that like people are too fragile for this world anymore and all that. And I'm like, I have a lot of empathy for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Like, it's not easy going around the world, and I think that we should all be nicer to each other, and the world should be nicer. And I know that it's unrealistic, but at the same time, why do we have to put people down? Why do we have to, like, make people... The school system at first is a very capitalist way of looking at things, making people into docile workers. That was basically the whole concept of public schooling. Now you can say, well, okay, well then school needs to be private. Well, then it's not equal. And I think that everybody should have equal opportunities as much as is possible. Of course, you know, it isn't happening that way, because people in poor families, well, it's rare to be able to be as successful in life as somebody who has successful in terms of money, earning a lot of money, gaining a lot of status, as opposed to somebody with old money or somebody who, well, has generational wealth. That's the unfortunate nature of our society and of the economy at the moment, and of economy throughout the ages. But okay, I digress. But I'm going on a tangent. But this ESFP was like, when I'm having kids, I'm going to be homeschooling them, because this school system is way too coddling on the children, and And I want them to be strong, like I've been, and I want them to manage the world and to be independent. First of all, she's a doctor, so there's no way that she'll be able to have the time to homeschool her children. But I did not take up that point, but that is like the most obvious point. Unless she decides to become to stop working and homeschool, but I don't think that that's the case in terms of my ESFP coworker. I don't think she has the patience to. I mean, it's already kind of stretching the limits that she'd have the patience to take care of kids. But I can see that, being in the realm of possibility. But homeschooling her kids, no way. I don't think. I mean, she has a lot of energy, but like, I don't think that she'd have any patience with her kids. She barely has patience for anybody, basically, even herself. So good luck with that. But apart from that, I think that there needs to exist a balance, like most things in life. I keep saying that, but it's true. I grew up in the French school system, and it is tough, and did it prepare me for the future? No, not really. Everything that I learned, I forgot. Like, what about algebra? I don't remember or need algebra in my daily life. I don't really care about physics because it's not something that really is needed in my career, even as a doctor. I mean, I've become so specialized in medicine that these general sciences are not things that are of any use to me. What I could have been helped with was like practical skills and like entrepreneurship, or how to fill in a tax form, or how to. I mean, I would probably suck at school if it was like this, but I'd rather have sucked at school and actually have learned something than to have been great at school and like it actually not serving me much purpose. I did learn critical thinking up to a certain point, but it was always according to what the teacher thought was okay, you know? It was still very much a conservative society, you know. I did happen to have an American English teacher from Kansas who he had long hair and a braid and was like a cool guy. He was an ENFP, I think, and he would like bring his guitar to class and such. That never happened otherwise, you know. It was only the English and American teachers that actually made my school like kind of creative and kind of, I got to see other ways of seeing world and education and stuff. And it was a breath of fresh air, you know, to have such a presence in the school, because this teacher started up the pantomime, which I was part of. I was a tree. I was tree number 3. Okay, I wasn't like a great part, but it was important because in Sleeping Beauty, I was one of the trees that stopped the prince from getting into, well, the tower where Sleeping Beauty sleeps. And it was just fun to have some after school activity. In France, there was so much focus on just academics, so much focus on just sitting still, keep your head down, do your job, learn things by heart. Don't interrupt the teacher, you know. Well, and with the English teachers, they were also kind of old English, I mean British teachers, they were also kind of old school. um, and but they were a little bit more into the creative writing and that kind of thing. So that was always nice. But the American teachers, there were three. One of them was history geography, and she was from she wasn't from Kansas. She was from one of the states around it, neighboring it. Was it? I don't know. I don't know the states over there. Like one of those big rectangular states in the middle of the United States. I don't know the name, but she was really excited about her job and stuff, and they would sometimes make activities, like we would have to make a poster, or we would put on a play about a certain thing. And of course, there's Mrs. Zanon, my favorite teacher ever. She would bake us banana bread, and then we would, it was kind of a collective thing, and then we would have different rituals or games, where like we had the pen of power, and the pen of power, whoever had the pen of power could speak, and everybody else had to be quiet, and then you would throw the pen of power, and whoever caught it, I sucked at catching the pen. Also, I didn't want to speak. So I never took the pen of power, but sometimes she would just hand me the pen of power and let me speak. And it's such a difference. The French teachers would never do something like that. It's just not in the way that they learned. I hope that new teachers are now learning that kind of stuff. And I have a friend who she did the first semester of medical school in France with me, but then had to do a 360 and choose a whole new path and became a teacher, an English teacher instead. And she seems to be doing different, she does rap, hip hop, battles with her students and stuff. And I see that she has taken in what our English teachers have taught us. And I'm talking about English teachers from the US and to a certain degree the ones that are from the UK. We had an Australian teacher, but she was kind of annoying, so I'm not sure about her. But all these English teachers, there's another kind of pedagogy that I hadn't tasted before, and you don't know what you're missing unless you experience it yourself. And I think that a lot of French people, they think that that's how education should be because that's how they've lived it. And I'm guessing that if somebody has been through a certain system, they're like, okay, well, this is how education is. But it's not that way. And I think Swedish education system, yes, is very slack and lax compared to a French system from what I've heard. I don't really know what people do in school, but I mean, they seem to be getting into university and stuff, so somehow something must be working. I think it's good that you let students have a bit of a say in certain things. Of course, it shouldn't be chaos so that kids can't learn. I mean, if the classroom is just full of people talking and shouting, the quiet kids are not going to, they're going to be in an unfair situation here. I don't know. It seems from what people in Sweden say that the Swedish school system is basically just coddling children and letting them do whatever. But I think that there should be some balance in this, some sort of just structure and learning in schools, but also you're only a child once, you know. I think there's so much focus on just making children into robots than like actually encouraging them and like seeing their positive aspects and their strengths and working on that and their creativity and their enthusiasm for learning. Now I know that a lot of kids, like their enthusiasm for learning has been extinguished from before they even start school because their parents don't have the resources to like give them that. I think that there needs to be like a revolution in this, but I of course, you know, revolutions rarely work. But, you know, there should be more like of a community of like of a culture of going to the library and not if people were less stressed out at their work, they would have more time with their children to actually explore like reading a book together rather than just plopping them in front of an iPad. Because I can see that, I mean, if I had a kid, like I would come home from work and just be completely dead, and I could not sit then after that and do their homework with me. Like it would just not work. That's why I'm not having a kid, because like I know that I wouldn't be able to handle that. But people are having kids anyway, so how are we going to help those kids? And I don't think that the solution is to let people homeschool. I think the solution is by making our public like healthcare, our public services, our public schools, giving resources to them and allowing for some freedom. Not being so rigid in what children should learn, and instead like trying to figure out what would help them later in life, what they want to learn, what the future holds for them, to make these people into the, you know, the seeds of the future, you know. We can't expect them to, why would we need them to perform high levels of like trigonometry if, you know, maybe you would need that if you want to become an engineer, but you know, maybe you know, focus more on geometry if you want to have more plumbers, more practical like jobs in the workplace. Maybe we should you know, reevaluate how much different jobs, like what salaries people earn. You know, of course doctors will have to always go through a university level training, but a lot of what I learned in medical school is absolutely useless to me now. A lot of things could be shortened. A lot of education is just fluff, but somehow I guess that we could use that fluff in order to help with critical thinking, help with creativity. Like if we could do like with all that time where you don't need to fill in the curriculum, to actually do creative endeavors together in a group. That's why a lot of these schools, for medical schools, have this thing called problem-based learning, where you, as a group, like you teach yourselves the program, and then you have like a project that you have to work on, and then you kind of teach that to others. Is kind of the thought. See one, do one, teach one is the way you learn things, you know. I think it's a difficult, it's a political issue, you know, it's an ideological issue. I mean, I'm not even talking about the people who are homeschooling because of their religious beliefs and they don't teach their children evolution and such, but I just think that if only we valued our public systems more, like our libraries, our hospitals, our community benefits and centers, and our schools, then people would see the benefits, you know. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I didn't use my taxpayers for this. I have a lot of patients who are like that. They're like, oh, this is shit. You know that I'm using my taxpayer dollars for this. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, I also pay taxes. You know, that isn't the argument that you think it is. I'm sorry that I had a bad experience, but it's not like I can't do anything about the fact that you have to pay taxpayer dollars. The system would be the same, you know. It could be way worse even with your taxpayer dollars. But I think that we need to, you know, realize that, you know, our school system is antiquated. We're not like in the 1900s anymore. Like, we're not going to prepare people to work in a factory. We need to focus on other skills, and we need to also help the rest of society so that people aren't in such poverty that they can't deal with things. People can't be in terrible health so that they can actually take care of their children and care in the appropriate way for their children. There is a lot that needs to work in order for a school system to work. But I think that homeschooling your children maybe can be a solution if they have special needs and such. But it wasn't a situation that I don't think that this ESFP will be able to do that. And also, I don't think that it's so bad to have like a little bit of a, you know, that life doesn't need to be so hard. You know, life could be good at school. You know, children shouldn't be like dreading to go to school. We've created such a system that children dread going to school. And if we made school a place where that was like great for them, great for their developments, they would enjoy going there more. So yeah, this was a rambling video. Obviously what I'm saying is a little bit controversial. because whatever I would say on this topic is controversial, you know. I probably have people who are homeschooled in my audience. Um, I did very well at school, but that's because I had this mask, which right now I'm trying to figure out, like, if I'm autistic or not. There are certain ways that you learn to cope with the world and to appear a certain way. And I wanted so hard to just be a good girl. I just had, and there is this autistic creator, I am mind blind, and she calls it that she's running through a code. It's called neurotypical.exe, and that's kind of how I would do it too. And she would run through all of her behaviors and her values and everything through that code. And that code told her certain things. And that code told me that I needed to be a good girl at all times. And so being a good girl meant being good at school. And not being a bother was another one of those things. And, you know, focusing on just schoolwork and nothing else. That was another thing. So I would just run through that all the time. And so I never really tried to figure out what I really thought about school. And what I really thought about school was that it was shit. Even though I was doing well and I was really, really intensely focused on doing my schoolwork, I didn't actually like school. I didn't like it. But I was good at it. I was good at it, but I didn't like it. And I was just masking the whole way through. I was just doing the only thing I knew how to do. I did not know how to socialize with other kids. I did not know how to go and, like focus, like go on to a party or focus more on my extracurricular activities than school. Like I would always focus 100% on school. And it was the only thing I knew how to do well, you know? So I was like, I was really invested in it. But maybe school, and that's why that's why I went to medical school. I mean, it's like I'll never be finished with school. And it wasn't really my love of learning that was the thing that made me continue going to school. It's because I literally did not know what else to do. Because I did not have any other skills. I was super skilled at writing French dissertations about philosophy, you know? Well, maybe not about philosophy. I was really good at writing French dissertations about French texts. I was really good at certain kinds of algebra. I was really good at reading Shakespeare. But, you know, was that really what I wanted to be good at? Not really, but that's what I would focus on. And had I chosen entirely for myself what I could be interested in, what I would have pursued further, I would probably be a completely different person. I think that everybody should have that choice to be able to be the person that they themselves want to be, and not what other people have decided that they should be, or whatever they think will help them survive the best, yeah, this video got way more personal than I thought it would be. But I have some strong feelings about this because school is my life. It's been all my life, and I've always prided myself on being good at school and such. But is that really who I wanted to be? I mean, I guess that it's who I am now, but was it really my choice that I got so invested in school? I don't know. My parents were very invested in me going to school. They both have college degrees. My mom has an MBA. My dad has a master's degree in engineering. I have higher education than my parents, which is quite a lot. But it's, and well, my mom is also she inherited of the Jewish belief system that like is very focused on being scholarly and that kind of thing. So all of my cousins, they have all gone to university and such. But I just think it didn't need to be this way, you know? And I don't regret going into higher education, not at all. I don't regret like all the fun times I had at school and learning about such a diverse like academic things, because a lot of them academic things. I mean, I like Shakespeare, so I'm glad that I learned Shakespeare. But I could have been so much different had I been going to school at some other place. I am glad for the American teachers that were there, because they really transformed my life, basically. I mean, this American teacher from Kansas, he told me that I should try for Cambridge. And I was like, you're kidding. You know, I didn't win. But I'm glad I did not try for Cambridge, actually, because that would have been, even if I had gotten it, which, like, I don't think would have happened, I think it would reinforce my belief that only people with an education are worth anything. Like, there's a kind of elitist kind of thought in that. And I didn't want to become that kind of person. So I decided to not apply for Cambridge. I did apply to an elite school, but it's a school that barely anybody knows about. So I wouldn't say that it's that elite, you know. But it's, I'm glad for everything that happened. I'm just saying that things could always be better. And that's part of being an INFP. It's, you know, looking towards the future, wanting things to be better. I always want the healthcare system to be better. I always want the education system to be better. There is that idealism within us that I think will never really go away. So yeah, that's all I had to say. Have a great day.